Come on, baby. There it is. We are live, everybody. Welcome and happy Sunday, week 8. It's an NFL Sunday. Yo, man, nothing wrong with having a little help from your friends. Brought in my dude, Uptown, baby. My boy, Raz from the Draft Season SEM podcast in the house. Before we hand it to him to do the intro, welcome everybody to the opening bell here at the FTN Network. Remember, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff on YouTube. Get up in the comments and tell my bosses just how good of a job I'm doing. This show brought to you by JOCK Market, the new app. Man, Raz, I'm telling you, I don't know if you're into it yet. I'm going to make a jock marketer out of you because I know you got, your mind's on your money's on your mind. And Jock Market is changing the way that we are playing daily sports, man. And as we get through the breakdowns and everything, I'm going to sell you on it because great products really sell themselves. And you're going to see what I'm talking about. Man, DraftKings, DFS, it's fun. I love it and all that stuff. But you got to put together a 9-leg parlay in order to bring home the bacon. You and I speak about betting all the time. It's very hard to hit 9 legs. Jock Market, you kind of get to select. You get to pick and choose your spots. And DraftKings, again, you need an entire lineup, right? You need a tight end. You need a QB. You might not like the flex players. Jock Market, you could just pick the players that you want. It goes on value, and it's real dollar-to-dollar buying. Man, we're going to get into all that. So, Raz, my dude, introduce yourself and your podcast. Hopefully, we're going to get Sean up in the house in just a minute. Talk to us, my man. How you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having us.
Pleasure.
Yes.
Pleasure. Where can people find you on the Bluebird?
Yeah. So you can find me at Polo Piffington. That's POLOPIFFINGTON. One half of the Draft Season podcast. And we're doing it up right now. I'm happy to be here. Let's get to talking some money. A couple local New York guys trying to get it today.
Yeah. Yo, I love every bit of that. And again, it was funny. If you haven't checked it out, you should check out the episode I jumped on with my boys, man. And I kind of got off the rails, something that I tend to do sometimes. But it's always money, right? We weren't talking about cereals and stuff like that. We weren't wasting nobody's time. That's usually the thing. Sometimes, man, the light goes on and I get my teeth sunk into something that I think people can use and turn into cash. I'm not saying I don't care about the sport angle, but me and you talk about this last time, Russ. You could do the best game analysis, game breakdown that you want. The next day, no one really cares because the game is played. You and I looking to leave people with a feather in that cap, something that they can apply later on. That's always been my claim to fame. And it's something that, I find the people that roll with me really do. So if anyone is new to the show, again, welcome. Rate, review, subscribe. Download the Jock Market app. Yo, it's free, and they're going to match you up to $50 free. And if you lose, they're guaranteeing you that entire $100 for free. So literally handing you a cannot-lose situation. But more than that, even if you weren't getting the free stuff, I really think I could sell you on it. Yeah, my boy, Sean 5K's up in the house. Sean, we're like rolling already. We're starting to get going. Quick intro for you before we get going with the games, my dude. How are you?
Fellas, what's going on, man? I'm here, man. I'm ready to make some money today, Big John. Raz, what's going on, my guys? How you doing, bro?
Yes, y'all. Yo, really good to see you. We did the introductions for the Draft Season podcast, and I already apologize for taking my dudes off the rail last time. Listen, man, but I was telling them it was not a waste. We were not talking about bologna sandwiches, man. We were chopping it up, talking about getting paid. One of my favorite things to do, man. Again, I like to appeal to heavy-duty bettors, to real professionals, and all that stuff. But at the same time, man, I really love to talk to the beginners because a lot of times there's a lot of people out there that are very sharp. They just might be missing a tool or two as far as taking themselves to the next step, understanding risk management, all that stuff. All right, before we do it again, guys, let's get down game-by-game breakdown. We're going to do it all. I want all your knowledge, man. If you like something on the betting board, we got bettors. If you like something on the DFS board, we got daily players. And remember, this is a Jock Market show. I'm going to sell you both on Jock Market and tell you why. Let's lead it right off, and I think you're going to get an idea of what I'm talking about with Jock Market, how it's a dollar-to-dollar share. And so you buy your shares, they come out, right, everyone plays the games, they come out as far as standings. The standing is assigned a share price. What I'm getting at is this. In DFS, if you make 1 or 2 misses, the whole ship probably going to sink if you take a couple zeros. Jock Market, it's the opposite. 1 or 2 good hits could rise the whole boat. You could be 2 and 7 and have a winning day, something you can't do in DFS. We're following the board across the DraftKings left to right. Let's do it, guys. Cincinnati Bengals. It's opened up at 10. They're up to 11-point favorites. Really no surprise why against my Jets in New York, not that I think it's really going to matter much. Zach Wilson is down. The Bengals are red hot. I was all over them all season. We talked about this early. They play both sides of the ball. So for me, this one is really, really simple. It's the Bengals by 1,000,000, and I hate to do it. I think my Jets are going to get rolled up. The defense didn't come out strong after the bye. They were in the wrong positions, and the offense looked lost. Now Davis is banged up. Man, they're in a lot of trouble, guys. So I think what people want to know is, can we cover the 11? Can the Bengals cover the 11? And then are there any pieces in this game that you want? Let me just preface one thing. I get worried looking for Bengals offense sometimes. They only run 59 plays a game. That's near the bottom of the board. They're one of the slowest operating teams in the league, 31.5 seconds per play, and not very efficient, only 31 yards per drive. This is all predicated on Jamar Chase doing his thing. He is the man. But you got to do that every week. It's not a lot of volume. So, guys, take it away. Raz, you up first. And why don't you go up first, man? Can we cover it? Who do you like in the game?
Boy. 11 is a tough number, but the Jets are awful.
Yeah.
Backup quarterback. No Corey Davis. It's looking like, but it's Halloween. I've seen crazier thing. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I think I'll go with the Bengals. I think if we're going, I was looking at the lines and the prop bets and stuff like that. I like Mixon as an anytime touchdown score today as well.
Oh, good call.
Yeah, I think I saw it at 115 minus 115, which is a little bit more than I would like to pay for that, but I think it's going to hit.
Yeah, pretty close to even. With prop bets, sometimes you got to go past, pay into the negative. Something I'm usually allergic to juice, but man, with this one, and then we're going to kick it to you, Sean. The total is 43. Generally, what I like to do when I'm looking at totals, I like to give the better team 30 points and then kind of go from there. Listen, again, people get caught up with this. You don't give a team 40 points. Yes, the Jets gave up 54. The Bengals scored 40 against Baltimore, but it's very difficult to do that. So that's 30-13. So I guess my question for you, Sean, is can the Jets even drop, 13 against the Bengals defense? No joke. They play very good up front. Lots of sacks. Jets allowing sacks. It's a very bad matchup for the Jets.
Yeah, I probably I'm taking the Bengals and the points. I definitely see more avenues. This definitely feels like a play down to your competition type of game, especially coming off the big game for the Bengals last week. I think the best point you mentioned last, particularly when how we looked at the actual Bengals offense coming to the preseason. I think people really look at them as just a passing heavy team, and to their credit, and this is basically why they've been a good team. You've seen a lot of how this team, they've been really balanced on a week-to-week basis. So I'm definitely plugging in all of my mixing shares. I also think, honestly, I'm playing. If you have Jamar Chase, you playing him. DFS, I actually don't think the price tag was that bad. I think he was at around like 7,000, I think, which is like pretty moderately based.
75, 7.5,
yeah, 77. I think that's pretty moderately based. T. Higgins at 5,200, I think that's a really good price. Particularly, I think he had 14 targets last week. I'm definitely taking the Bengals with the points. I think the first half might be a little nasty, just trying to line it up. And I think Mixon is also an anchor value tag for the week as well.
I love the Mixon TD call by Raz. I really do. That's a really strong play. My worry with Mixon, listen, if Mixon's on your fantasy team, you're queuing him up. There's no question. My worry here is when P. Ryan is healthy, they give him the ball. He's also pretty efficient with it. P. Ryan's not just like a backup running back that doesn't do anything. We saw him. He's good. He's good for anywhere between 12 and 15 carries. When he's on the field, he can play third downs. I'm not afraid to use him, all over the field. So Mixon is a definite key. Like I said, I'm a bit worried in DraftKings. This is going to be my first point about JOCK market. And it has to do with players like this that get a lot of attention. Same would go for Jamar Chase. So the Jamar Chase, I agree with you, 7.5 or a little low. The thing with DFS is everybody gets to stare at the same price all week. Once you lock in on 7.5, you lock in on 7.5. A JOCK market, dude, it's an open market, fellas. If everybody loves him, he's going to go from – so here's the way it works. The average player is about $5 a share, and the top return is $25 a share. Some players go as low as $2. I've gotten Deebo Samuels as low as $2.50. He finished second, returned $20 per share. He returned like 1,000% in a single game, just not something that DFS allows you. So I love the idea of kind of getting in the market. So DFS, yes, you queue up Chase. Jock market, if Chase goes at $5, you hit it. If he goes up to $8, $9, $10, you let other people have it. And that's what I like about Jock market is it kind of will punish you for chalk. All right, guys, let's blow through these games a little bit more. The ones we're not so into, we could just go past pretty quickly. This one, listen, next up, Dolphins going to Buffalo, 14-point spread, 48.5 on it. I'm going to be honest. Buffalo is a complete team, and I think they're excellent. I've worried where the ball is going to go. Diggs is a little too expensive for me. I'm not into the running back room at all. I just can't lay 2 touchdowns in division. So for me, this one is Josh Allen or nothing, right? He's going to be at the helm. They kind of throw up or down. So for me, this one is just that simple. I'm not touching that big spread. I do think Buffalo gets it done. Sean, why don't you lead us off on this one?
Yeah, I think if you look at the past matchups for Buffalo, I think especially in division, and these games have not been close. I think the last 3 Dolphins Bills games have been decided by 3 touchdowns at least. So I think just particularly, I don't see it. I think this is going to be an ugly game for Buffalo. I mean for Miami. Yeah. So I definitely think this is one of the safer picks of the week, particularly
to cover the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think they're going to cover two touchdowns easy. I think this is definitely going to be. I think going back to the game plan that we've seen with Buffalo in the first half of the season is they get up a lot of points early, and then you see they're going to grind that run game in the second half. So I've seen 40 and a half yards for Zach Moss. I'm banging that over. I think that's going to be a good number for them. Particularly like I said about just how the game script is going to play out for them. I definitely just see that second half of the game. They're going to. I think time possession. They're going to be a lot of the ball's going to be in Buffalo's hands. So I just think, especially the way they're coming off that disappointing Monday Night Football game against the Titans before they went to the bye week. I think the Titans are going to. I think the Bills are going to come out here looking sharp pretty early, and I think we're going to see a lot from Tua this week. So I think 2 weeks, 2 touchdowns, particularly considering how explosive this Bills offense is. I think it's a pretty safe bet, even considering the large number at hand.
If you go play this back, you're going to see me and Raz making faces at the same time, like we just smelled some sour milk. Maybe Raz, you and I like Tua. I think the Dolphins season, you got to be careful with the season stats. They're 2 different teams. Man, Tua looks really crisp. He looks really good. And I'm a little disappointed they're talking about bringing in Watson and changing direction. I really, really like what I've seen from Tua, and I think he's the reason that I'm not into the 2-touchdown spread. I think he keeps it close. The Miami defense has been trashy. Raz, what's your take here?
I'm leaving the game alone. Right. I don't think I'm taking that points at all. It's a division game, like you said. If I had to jump into like player props or something like that, I see Zach Moss receiving yards 13.5. I might take a flyer there. And then I see Cole Beasley at 4.5 receptions at even money, plus 100. So I would take a flyer there. But
I like that. Raz, sorry to cut you off. You're going to get it back. Respect people, what the man is doing. Remember, it's not always totals, spreads. The markets are changing, and so we should change with it and not be afraid to look for the best value. Sometimes it's reception props, and look, he's not touching the betting. Some people get locked into a certain format, I think is what I mean, Raz. So I appreciate that because that speaks to the crowd that follows me, right? Listen, baseball's over. Now we're right on to the next money-making opportunity, but we don't smash our head into the wall looking to lose. And it's also like there I am, opening up into Jock market, man. I took that free $20 that I was talking about, free $20. Now it's $50. I'm up over $2,300 just on their money. Dude, taking little chips, ding. We're going to jump into the market later. You're going to see exactly what I'm talking about in real time. Hopefully next week you guys will be up in this market with me. You're going to see, I'm telling you, we're going to identify players that are just way too cheap, and it works in reverse. Again, the bargain players in DFS, the price is stuck there. In Jock market, prices actually sink. So, man, I'm loving what you're putting down to the different format. Is there anything else you like before we move on, Raz?
Nah, that game's going to be a... Stay away.
Now, let me ask you though: is the 2 touchdowns worried about the spread beyond the division? You seeing what I'm seeing with Tua? You think he looks good?
I'm a notorious Tua hater.
Okay.
So I don't know if I see what you're saying.
It was a
but
really ugly pick last week. Really ugly.
I do think. I think the Dolphins have a little bit more pride this go around because they did get smoked earlier.
Yeah.
By them, so I mean, I think they put a little fight up. But
again, all right. We're talking about putting a little fight up. Sean, lead us off, man. It's Rams and Texans. Rams favored by, it was 14.5. I think that's actually moved. And now 47.5. For me, it's the same questions when I hit these games. Yeah, do you feel comfortable getting to 3 scores? And if we give the Rams 30 points, do you see the Texans getting to 17?
I think that's another one, and particularly with this slate of games this week, which are really nasty, to say the least. Rams are another one. I think just offensively, when I put in my trust intervals into that team right now, yeah, they've pretty much been unstoppable if you just look at the Rams offense. Rams have the 6th lowest yards before contact. Like that speaks to the offensive line. So I'm loving all of the Darrell Henderson stocks out there. I didn't see what is he looking at. I think he's at over 82.5. That's not bad. I don't love that number. That just seems like a perfect number to put that. But another reason why I think when it comes to putting points on the board, and this comes to mind with the Browns offense, who between the 20s they've been pretty good moving the ball. But the Rams, the key to their success has basically been the red zone efficiency. So basically they've had 11 touchdowns on 26 red zone possessions, second best in the league. Particularly against the Texans, I see this going to be a ball control game for them as well. So a lot of time of possession in the Rams' favor. So yeah, I see these numbers this week, particularly for this. I mean, Davis Mills has been up and down, and to be kind, basically just his only up has been the Pats game. So I would definitely. It's a hard number. So like, you probably don't feel great about putting a number on it. But the Rams, they've been hard to stop right now. So I feel a little better about that number.
This one feels like it could absolutely just spin out of control. Just a couple stats. Texans, worst in the league with less than 14 points, 58 plays, only 275 yards a game. One of like 3 teams to average less than 5 yards per play, 64% drive success rate, 3.14 adjusted line yards, 3 running back yards per carry. I mean, there's just nothing that they do well. I almost took the Texans with the points because I thought Tyrod was coming back. And Tyrod, he kind of gets dragged through the mud. And I think if you watch those games, he's actually a competent quarterback. He's not great, but he moves with pressure. He can pick up first downs with his legs, and he makes high percentage throws. Again, he's not a world beater. But with Tyrod, you also like Brandon Cooks, which now I'm just off this one totally. So Raz, I see you shaking. So off the bat, with Mills, can you touch anything in this offense? And then to the Rams, everyone is looking at Darrell Henderson. I mean, he's the most chalkiest play. So in DraftKings, I think maybe you got to get there. In JOCK market, I'm not going to chase him up into the upper tier because I think his appeal is the price in DraftKings, but he is a workhorse. So Raz, get to us. Make sure you touch on the players on the Rams if you got to get with the Rams. I mean, it's hard to avoid him outright, but do you think it's through the air? Do you think they get him on the ground? Do you think they hang 35? What do you think, man?
I mean, I think the Rams have the ability to blow this one all the way open. Like it's not looking. I would take the Rams on the points here if I had to. We don't have to do that, people. So like, if you don't feel good about it, don't. Stafford is over 291 passing yards, I believe. I think he could get that against this team. It just depends on how quick they get up on the Texans because they might switch to running the ball. So that would be my only trepidation there. But I like the Stafford number. Let's see if there's anything else.
It's a tough one. They spread the ball out. They go everywhere.
Cooper Kupp is very high. Like he's 95 and a half.
They put you in a position where you need a ceiling game from him. And now let me drop my favorite DFS little nugget here when I'm trying to put together my winning teams. So you're looking to win a tournament, I generally think you need 200 points to win in DraftKings. 200 points will get the job done for you. $50,000 salary, pretty easy math for me. Multiply the thousands by 4. Just simple back of the napkin math will help you pace yourself for 200 points. Man, Cooper Kupp at 9,000, pretty simple. Multiply by 4. He needs 36. You know, he's only done that once. It was last week, and he got to 40. Just to put into perspective how difficult it is to pace 200 points. I'm sorry to derail you, Raz, but that's always a really good lesson. Again, we spoke about that, trying to leave people with that, because it's not about, I think Kupp scores 32. Guess what? 32 is not enough. 32 is not enough. 32 does not pace you for 200 points. So he's a cash game play no matter what, but I generally stay away from these guys in tournaments. Talk to me about Henderson, man. Listen, that Texas run D is atrocious. Almost 5 adjusted line yards allowed, 31 attempts for 146 yards on the ground, 5.25 running back yards per carry. Hard to get away from Henderson, man. You think this one's just him and only him? Meaning, you think there's a reason to fade the Rams pass game?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, like, with the numbers that you're getting from the Rams pass game, like just how high they are. Darrell Henderson looks like someone that you could play, because I think they will run the rock, and I think even his receptions or his receiving yards is like 20.5 as well. Like, that's a couple swing plays for him, and I think they may dial one of those up just because that Texas defense is so bad. I mean, I think all the Henderson props are good.
Yeah, go, Sean. Go.
Yeah, not to cut you off, Rez. I think the 20.5 receiving yards for Darrell Henderson, I think that's an easy over. I particularly just how they use them. You see them basically like with their 5-out and empty formations that they run. And they've tried to find Darrell Henderson in advantageous positions, basically against linebackers, even against corners. So he's one of those guys that definitely has a versatile skill set, so you can see them. Particularly, I think that play against the Giants, so I think it's like maybe 30-yard touchdown, where he broke it open in that game. So I think that 20.5. Also, I will say Van Jefferson. I like that 40.5 yards for him, particularly on his snap percentage. Target percentages have both been going up every week on the season. We're seeing it, basically Edison, Deshaun Jackson as well. So I think that's somebody who his role in this offense has even been a little more steadier than Robert Woods on a week-to-week basis, just in how they've targeted him down the field. So I think Van Jefferson, that move of them getting rid of Deshaun Jackson is kind of, I think it's a sign of approval for basically Van Jefferson, who's a talented guy, basically being on the up and up.
That's a bunch of good points, and the DFS point to leave people with: if you really want to win in daily sports, you have to consider ownership percentages. You have to, because you could hit on the chalk, and unless it's a ceiling game, it actually hurts you. So there's a situation, again, when you think about those multipliers, where if Henderson just scores 20, falls a little bit short of that 4-time multiplier, he's a disappointment. And Jefferson, if that one goes the other way, what's he coming at? Oh man, where is this boy? I had his price. Oh, Van Jefferson is all the way down at the bottom at 3.9. Multiplied by 4 is only 16 points. Really not crazy to get to 16 points, especially if you think he's going to get in the end zone. He could do it in one play. So there you go, people. Again, just a quick application of how Van Jefferson can be greater than sign Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp. You just got to do the math. I'm going to be really interested to see the jock market prices in this one, because, again, that's what I love about real markets. You can spend all day listening to podcasts and people break stuff down. Jock market, the market is literally open from 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock when bids come in. You just don't know how it's going to shake out. And in the last 10 minutes, when things get really crazy, I'm going to start calling out some of the players at the bottom here and give you an idea. And I will give you one listing for going to the next game. Some of these players, guys, now granted, they'll be backups, maybe, third wideouts, fourth wideouts. Some of these guys you're getting for like 5 cents a share. Now, let's say you get Van Jefferson share and it's 20 cents. And he goes off, right? He could go off. Let's say he goes for 2 really long touchdowns. This guy could return $25 a share on a 10-cent investment. That's 10 times 10 times 25. That's a 250-time pop on one player that cannot be gotten anywhere in the prop market. Anywhere. Those things just don't exist. And that was how I boosted my jock market account up from $20 up into the thousands, because I hit on players that were going for a quarter and they returned $3. Dude, it's a 12 times hit on one guy. So I love the application here, that it's real-time thinking, plus you got to think of percentages. Guys, let's go into what I got being this game is just so ugly. You nailed it, Sean. The slate is just kind of gross. It's the 49ers. They're 4-point favorites on the road. And you'd say, how could they be 4-point favorites on the road? Well, they're playing the Bears, which are it's atrocious. People are piling on Fields, and I think a bit of that is unfair. I think he's got skills. I think the boy can play. I think his career will be strong. But you got to protect the young kid. You can't just throw a young quarterback into the mix. Let's check this out. Bears on offense, minus 28% pass DVOA. They've allowed, 26 sacks, worst in the league, 12.2 adjusted sack rate, worst in the league. And then the passing stats have been trash. But yeah, they're going to be trash when you don't protect the young kid. So this one for me is almost like a full-out fade. I do generally like to look for Debo when Jimmy Grapes is at the helm. But the Bears have shown us they could shut down big wideouts. They snuffed out Devontae Adams, who is a god on the field. So I don't think I want anything to do with this. The only place I have gone is Elijah Mitchell on the 49ers. I know people are off and they're afraid of the pass work, but Bears defense allowing 5 adjusted line yards, 28 carries for 122 yards, 4.7 running back yards per carry. We know the 49ers love to run. So I don't know if they cover it. I think they win. I'm not touching the minus 200. Sean, what do you got, man? For me, it's Mitchell, and that's it. I'm way off this one. I love the price on DraftKings. I'm going to be tracking them in Jock Market momentarily. Talk to me about this slop fest, and if you touch it,
yeah, this one is pretty nasty. I think it's going to be a pretty conservative game script on each side. Yeah, I think Elijah Mitchell, just in terms of snap percentage. Kyle Shanahan seems to hate Trey Sermon, so that's not even a thing. So I would definitely, I see Elijah Mitchell, who he's somebody who that price tag definitely seems low to me. So I feel like that's going to be a pretty good sticker for as you're filling out those guys, particularly like if you're looking at a really cheap flex play. But for me, I think I'm not really. I think it was 75% snap share for Khalil Herbert last week against the Bucs. I think that kid has been somebody who I've always had my eye on. Took him in a bunch of dynasty leagues, third, fourth round.
Man, huge hit.
Huge hit right now.
Yeah,
I think particularly, I just think he's been super impressive, and I think what he's done on a play-by-play, rush-by-rush basis for the Bears have been really impressive. So I think him getting to 70 yards, I don't hate that number, particularly like that Bucs number is a stay away from everybody. But I just think he's also valued at 5,400 for the week, if I have my numbers correct. Right. So I think I also do think that's not a bad number. I am a glutton for pain as well. So even as bad as Allen Robinson's been, 40 yards, man, 40 yards is not a lot. That's literally like two, 3 catches. That really seems like I don't know. I don't think Allen Robinson, like you said, John, I think just in terms of what they've been asking Justin Fields to do, the offense has not been catered to his skill set and how he's been playing. They've basically just been using him as, one of these he's basically been running for more or less the same offense or a similar offense, even less creative offense. Not that I'm just like theorizing in my head than what the Patriots are asking Mac Jones to do. And I just think it's a total mismanagement of his actual skill set. Just in terms of how that's looking, I just think they haven't really opened the offense up. So I think for Allen Robinson, I think it's just one of those cases to where he's one of those contested catch receivers. And if you're not really giving him that target share, that's really going to lead to a disappointment that we noticed that this season. But even 39.5, I don't know, man. I think that's even a garbage time dump off. And I think even Cole Kmet over 26.5. I think he's been a growing presence on the receiving yard. So I think that's a pretty good number. Hold
on, before we go, Raz. Did you see Nagy is out, right? So if the Bears were going to get help by missing somebody, so Nagy's out.
That's what I said. I might go with that +4, honestly, if Nagy's out.
But man, it's I one of the things I have struggled to get behind are offensive line. Really, really poor offensive lines are something that I struggle to get behind. The same for defenses. We're going to get to one of those games in a little bit. So talk to us about this game, Raz, real quick. Like, man, Debo is an alpha among alphas. He truly is like a 1-1A. But you got to get it there, and the Bears defense kind of has me off him. So for this one, this feels as ugly as the line looks. Yeah, I wouldn't even mind going with Sean. I wanted to pick up on the Herbert thing. I think this might be a game where Mitchell and Herbert are both really strong plays. Those games do exist where this one's 17-13, and both backs go for 125 in the score. What do you think, Raz?
I like Mitchell.
It's ugly.
I like Mitchell today. I think that's a pretty strong play. Herbert, to your point, I mean, could they get both of those guys going? I would like to see that as well. I think that's something you could do. There, I looked at the Debo props. It's 6.5 receptions plus money. Like you said, he is an alpha among alphas out there. Would I put a little coin on that to see if he can get 7 receptions? Maybe, but I mean, it's just like this game is ugly, and I think if you are not confident in the running backs, I think you should just stay away in general. So
okay, check this out. Bears defense. Hold on, check it out. Cooper Kupp went for 7. Tyler Boyd actually had 7 grabs. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 6. Hunter Renfrow had 6. Mike Evans had 6, and Godwin had 8. So it's not out of the question. Because I was worried about the volume.
Pound it. I'm gonna pound it. I'm gonna take I might because those what you call it, those little jet sweeps count as catches too. They're gonna use Debo in those in the gadget role. So I might actually take that.
All right, cool, man. Let's move it on. That one's really ugly. I think my bet would I can't. To me, San Francisco is just not a cover team. So I'd have to suck up and pay the juice for the money line, which I don't like. I'm just not touching this one. Again, you don't have to bet every single game, people. Something I definitely learned as a pro. One game that everyone's going to be watching, and I'm really interested in. We're going to go to the AFC here. It's Titans going to Indy. Really a surprise that the Titans are coming in as an underdog here. I mean, they're the hottest team in the league, right? I mean, you beat Buffalo and you beat Kansas City, and God, they threw Kansas City a beating, man. They threw them a beating. And before we kick it to you guys, we need more of you, less of me. What I've noticed about Tennessee I'm watching these games is as poor as the defense is in the secondary, they run some really creative blitz packages. And you see that in the stats. So, I like to go to PFF. They have all the advanced stats there. So, line grades and things that are hard to find. The Tennessee Titan defensive line grade is very poor. But they have one of the highest sack totals in the league, one of the best adjusted sack rates in the league because it's super creative. I mean, you're seeing stunts and rolls and spins and quarterbacks and nickel blitzes, all types of crazy stuff going on. It worked the first time around, and they beat the Colts. The Colts have picked it up. Wentz looks healthy. Jonathan Taylor looks like a beast, though I'm going to worry about his volume. So that's my take here. I don't know really what I like. I'm an underdog better, guys. You see it on Twitter. Tennessee's one of my picks. They're just too strong to be an underdog. I do think Indianapolis is a complete team, not a Super Bowl type of complete team, but they do a little bit of everything. Sean, why don't you lead us off with this one, man? There's a lot that people like, right? A.J. Brown's floating around there. Pittman's floating around there. Of course, the King Derrick Henry's floating around. Jonathan Taylor. A lot of pieces in this game. I haven't really settled on many of them. Is there anything you got your eye on?
Yeah, I think just in terms of trying to make – I think it's one of the more interesting games of the weekend. Just particularly, I did go back and watch the first game between the Titans and the Colts, and Carson Wentz was actually having some. And I'm somebody who's a big Carson Wentz skeptic. Yeah. So, but since that first, he was awful in that game. Since that game against the Titans, and I think that was week 3. It's been 7 games since, and he's thrown for 11 touchdowns to 1 interception. I think this team they've basically been playing much better on both sides of the ball. But I'm with you just in terms of I do love that Titans number. As I think they've just been much more consistent on a week-to-week basis, which sounds crazy when you think about it because they lost the damn game to the Jets. But yeah, that's just that's NFL football for you because it's just unpredictable on a week-to-week basis. So
I think I just saw some breaking news. These things are happening in real time, which kind of caught me by surprise. But I just got tagged that Calvin Ridley is out. Now we didn't get to that one, but
that's one.
Sometimes you get lucky. I had posted a prop play for Kyle Pitts over receptions, and now that one's coming off the board. Man, we're going to get to them in a second. But, yeah, I like to just throw in the ones. So I know people are listening to this and, putting in lineups and stuff. Man, I do have Ridley in spots. You got to get him out of there and start to pivot. So, I'm sorry, pick back up where you were, Tennessee, Indianapolis.
Yeah, Tennessee and Indianapolis. I also think as far as the rushing game goes, it's another interesting thing. I'm always a proponent of betting that second half over on Derrick Henry rushing yards. But the Colts have been the number one rushing defense according to DVOA on a week-to-week basis. So I think that's another one that's pretty interesting. I think even after last week, because that was the Bucks but the Bucks fell down to 4. So I think Indianapolis is I think it's gonna be a pretty interesting game. I'm pretty interested in I think, especially coming off of last week, I think AJ Brown is gonna have I would take the over 74.5 yards on that. I think they're gonna be able to pass the ball in them. And I think for the first time all season, I think he was starting to look healthy and growing into that role that we saw AJ Brown in basically the last 2 seasons. So yeah, over 74.5 yards for AJ Brown. I think I'm gonna take that.
Nice.
And yeah, I think another one that I also do appreciate, I think I'm gonna take Jonathan Taylor over 15.5 receiving yards. I think he's also been a weapon to where I think he's one of those game-breaking guys to where he's going to get his 15 and 20 in that range of rushing attempts per game. But I think just as 15 yards could be one dump off that he just breaks. So I just think for an entire game, I think 15.5 for Jonathan Taylor, I think it's a pretty strong number, and I would definitely bang that for over.
There are people who are super high, Rez. You're going to get this now. People are super high on Taylor, and he's shown us in the game log, but the volume is not there. So he has to be really efficient. And I'm not saying that he's not going to. He keeps getting it done, but that's where I found him off Taylor. What do you like anything in particular in this game, Raz? You would nod it when I had the Titans. Again, sometimes betting is just that easy for me. They're very talented. They have Derrick Henry. They have AJ Brown. Like, I'll take them as a dog. That's it. So, they run. They play enough defense.
I actually have the Colts in this game.
Okay.
I like
the cover. You like the cover or just the money line?
I like the cover actually. I think the Colts have been playing a lot better. They've been playing a lot better.
Yeah.
They have a better point differential than their record lets on. If you kind of jump into the numbers there, they have a similar point differential as the Packers, honestly. If we're getting into player props, I see Carson Wentz rushing yards 12.5. I think he's always good for getting flustered and running out the pocket. So I might take a flyer there. Naeem Hines over 2.5 receptions is plus money.
Nice.
I think that's something that I would look into there. And then lastly, Mo Alley Cox anytime touchdown because every time he gets the ball, it's in the end zone. So I think I would take a flyer there if we're just looking at the Colts. But now
what's the odds on Mo? What's the odds on Big Mo getting in the end zone?
Let's
I hope it's at least 250, 300. If not, I'm not going there. Sometimes those tight end ones are like 600, 700. And that's what's like,
anytime scorer for Mo Alley Cox is plus 250 on
draft. Man, other people are loving that. I don't know if I can get there. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that means everybody's in on the jig. I'm not feeling that as much.
Titans have been pretty strong against tight ends. Check this out: 8 fantasy points a game. That's in the top 5. They've only allowed 30 receiving yards. But again, if you're looking for Mo Alley Cox in the end zone, it's Mo Alley Cox in the end zone. He's a tremendous target. This one, one thing I didn't hear people talk about is the totals. And I just thought division game with all the running that I expected, I thought 51 was a little bit high. So my lean probably stronger than the Titans winning because that one is really just a talent-based play on the odds. I don't think we get to the over in this one. I think this one's played closer to the line of scrimmage. All right. Hey, man, it's ugly game after ugly game, guys. We are not escaping it this week. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh opened up as a 3-point dog. I believe that's moved to 4, at least 4. I've seen 4.5 in some spots. No one expecting a lot of scoring, 42.5 points on the total. We know the Browns defense, that line has been pretty good. We also know they love to run the ball. Chubb is back. Johnson looked filthy out there, but I'm worried about the quarterback play. I mentioned worrying about offensive lines, and that being something that makes me worried about betting. Poor quarterback play is the other one, and that's why I can't get behind the Bears today. I would love to bet on a home dog against a bad 49ers team, but I worry about the quarterback, and I worry about the quarterback here in Cleveland. An injured Mayfield is probably the same thing as Case Keenum. I don't like either one of them. That Steeler money line keeps creeping up and up and up and up. I've seen it at 165, gents, and I think that's where I'm going. I think the Steelers do just enough. to get it done. Like I said, sometimes I'm just betting the odds and the talent. We've seen Ben look a little bit crisper as of late. Sean led the last one. Raz, why don't you get us on this one? It's really hard to get behind almost any players. It's all so sloppy. So for me, it's Pittsburgh to win it, and maybe that's about it. Najee Harris is awesome with the usage, but the public loves him so much, I usually don't get behind him. What do you guys think?
Pittsburgh money line is something that I do believe in. I do think Nick Chubb on the Cleveland side, his numbers are a bit much, but I do like his receptions number. Let me see if it's still up. I am not seeing it, but he has over 98.5 for rush and reception yards.
Okay.
No Kareem Hunt. He may get a few more looks in the passing game, so I think that's worth.
The Johnson doesn't scare you how great he looked. Like he looked awesome, man.
He looks great, but that same thing happened last year. Last year, he looked great in that fill-in role, and as soon as Nick Chubb is back, you got to roll with Nick Chubb. Like he's that type of player. Sneakily, if we can just like dive off into like a longer play. I was speaking with one of my homeboys, and he was trying to convince me into taking Pittsburgh Steelers for the division right now. The numbers were crazy on that, and I was like, I might have to look into that. Cleveland's banged up. Lamar is great.
Be tough, man.
Lamar is great, but they put a lot on his plate, and I think if you put a little chicken on that, maybe $50 at what it is right now, it's like an astronomical number. It might be worth the benefit there, if the Steelers can get it together. And they always seem to finish at around 500, so I wouldn't put it past them to be a little bit better there, even though Ben is the Walking Dead right now. I mean, I think a $50 bet right now on the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the division may sound crazy, but I just might do it just to see what happens.
Man, even Ben throwing the ball feels like running the ball right now. But he makes a lot of high percentage throws. They've got good hands, and they've got some target monsters with like Johnson. The guys that he's talking about, between him and Harris, it's just very hard to cover them both up. So it's not really to sell anybody on what I think very highly of the Steelers. Sean, you got anything for us on this one? I'm finding a lot of the people I respect are more into the Browns, and I'm getting worried I'm going to lose this one. But plus 170, I think I'm going to be able to keep it close. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, this is like you said. This is just another disgusting game. I do think there's nothing appetizing about this one at all. Like I said, I think like Baker over under 1.5 touchdowns as a prop. I don't even know. There's nothing I really feel comfortable betting. I think you guys did cover everything. I'm with you on the Deontay Johnson alpha thing. I do think out of all of those guys, I think his big play, he's in the top 10 of explosive plays for wide receivers. So even with noodle arm to Ben at this point in his career, I do think he's been able to really stretch the field and give you those chunk yardage plays. So Deontay, I just think that's somebody who I think he's going to be hard to contain, and he's hard to keep at bay. Even the Najee Harris prop on the receiving yards, 34.5. I think a lot of dump offs. Basically, Ben's been using him basically real similar to how Phillip Rivers used Austin Eckler. So for somebody like that who also does have for DFS purposes, I do think Najee is going to be worth that tag, and also 34.5 for receiving yards. I would definitely take the over on that.
Yeah, I worry about the yardage because everything's played so close to the line. I did want to mention something with Deontay Johnson. He's kind of been not getting the love that I think he deserves. So, guys, I think of it as, I'm a baseball guy, like my triple slash for wide receiver inputs, meaning, right, I try to ignore the outputs. Missed tackle is 70 yards, and all of a sudden, you got to be careful with that. So it's target percentage. Deontay Johnson's at 27%. Percentage of air yards of the team is at 36, and a dot in the double digits. So those are all right. It's happening often. He gets the lion's share, and it happens far away from the line of scrimmage. So for me, Johnson is a nice play at any given time. And the Browns D, yeah, they've played passing teams well. But it's funny because a lot of it is because they eat up so much clock, right? Green Bay does the same thing. they work so slowly. They get a lot of first downs, and it just keeps the other team off the field. Last thing on the Browns, D, if you're into Deontay Johnson, they've struggled against number one wideouts, the Browns I'm talking about, 9 targets, 97 yards per game by the number one wideout against the Browns. So I think Johnson's a nice play. I think he's going to go over everything. I think he goes over his receptions. I think he goes over his yardage and all that good stuff. All right, guys, let's get away from the ugly games and get into an ugly game. This is just like the toilet bowl this entire week. Philadelphia Eagles, who, man, I've been betting all year because they're always an underdog, and I think they could play it close. Well, they found the one team in the league that they're favored over. It's the Lions. That, man, people like the Lions because they're this backdoor kind of cover team. Gosh, Goff looks awful. They have no pass catchers. I think DeAndre Swift is trapped there. Raz, you got the facial expressions. This one's all you. I can't. I'm really struggling. People are picking the Detroit Lions to win it outright. I just don't want this one. This one sucks to me. I think Hurts gets it done the same way as always. You can't watch him play or you're going to puke because he goes into the half with 75 rushing yards and a 30% completion percentage. It's just gross. Do you have any takeaways here from this one, man? I'm like, I don't want to deal with it.
I would say leave it alone. I don't think the Lions win this game. I do think the Eagles do win it, but it's like, would I be shocked if we look up at the end of the game and it's a 60-yard field goal to win it? Like, no, from the Lions, I wouldn't be shocked there. So it's just like, or a fucking 65-yard for them to lose it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, just stay away from it. I don't like any of the props. I have no idea how Jalen Hurts plans to utilize Devontae Smith ever. So he's in purgatory on my bench in fantasy football as well. So it's just one of those things where, like, this is a game where everybody, like, it's okay. We don't have to bet this one.
Yeah. Sean, you got anything? This game's getting so much attention. It's getting a ton of attention. And, man, you watch these Lions there. It's really gross. And I do like DeAndre Swift, but let me just throw a touch. It's just a touch of cold water on it. They have not abandoned Jamal Williams. They're a game script team. So when the Lions, it's Williams to start because they want to run. And the Eagles do not defend the run well at all, fellas. It's really bad. Almost 5 adjusted line yards allowed, 32 rush attempts for 133 yards per game, 4.5 running back yards per attempt. This is the Eagles. So I think the Lions are going to come out and run the ball with Jamal Williams. So that's my one take for this game is DeAndre Swift is bad chalk for me because I do think this one gets played close. And though I think he'll get his work, I don't think it's the 100% snap share because they're down 3 scores. The way the Eagles are playing on offense, very hard to back them. Sean, man, missed the mark anywhere? I'm telling you, people love this game.
Yeah, this is a stay away from me, just particularly with how Jalen Hurts has been playing recently. Like, I know everybody loves the fantasy points, and if you just close your eyes and check the point totals at the end of the week, Jalen Hurts' experience has been glorious. Now, if you actually turn that film on, you've seen that he hasn't really been to execute. Him and Sirianni don't seem to be on the same page, so that's one thing. I do think I'm a fan of Kenneth Gainwell, so you could probably talk me into. I think he scores today. I think think he scores at some point. So I probably take anytime score on Kenneth Gainwell. But yes, it's for the rest of this game. I think this is nasty work as far as this game goes. And yeah, I think Raz hit it on the head perfectly. This definitely seems like a 60-yard field goal as regulation ends to just bring pain to bettors across the country.
Yeah, it's tough, man. People fall in love with their narratives, and sometimes, a lot of times, I should say, teams are not as bad as you just saw them, and maybe not as good as when you just saw them. Man, that sucks because that was my point for the Chargers and the Patriots. We're gonna get to that in a second. But the Patriots coming off a jet shellacking, the Chargers coming off getting beat up by the Ravens, and all of a sudden the Chargers are opened at 5 points. It's down to like 4. I don't even think the Patriots are on the same level as the Chargers. We'll get into that in a second. Let's get into the NFC South first. And after this one, we're going to jump into the jock market before we wrap up the rest of the games because I'm telling you, the last 10 minutes of this bad boy is crazy. I'm going to just start dropping some prices on you. How about this, people? These are live prices right now. Live prices. Javonte Williams, a share is going off at $1.11. What people don't know is every share returns $1, meaning you don't bottom out no matter what. The worst player on the board returns $1, which I kind of like because it means they just kind of make you front a little bit of cash, even though you're going to get it back. You just have to front a little bit of cash, right? So if it was 11 cents, somebody might go to take them all, but the fact you have to lay $1 to front $1 for every 11-cent share maybe makes it a little bit softer. Point being, 11 cents. If Javonte Williams is the lead back, maybe Gordon throws his ankle early, who knows? He's just has a good game. He can literally return like 40, like a 40-time pop. You just can't find that kind of return anywhere. And again, I don't mean to try and sell people the dream because he doesn't need to do that, right? If he finishes 10th on the board or 20th on the board, his share return, he'll probably return $5 or $6 a share. And at 25 cents a share, it's just ridiculous. The way that you could build profit and bankroll here is, man, it's a really effective way to be efficient and without having to kind of do other work, right? We're talking about betting, we're talking about DFS. This just happens to fit into all the other work we're doing. So we'll get back to it in 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes before we close. I'll point out.
He just jumped to $2 now that you've mentioned it.
What's that?
He just jumped to $2 now that you've mentioned it.
You're tracking. Oh wow! Hopefully someone's up in there right now, like, oh shit, Big John's on him. Let's jump the boy. But yo, I'm glad that you're watching and following. Even listen, the cheapest player on the board right now, Tyler Conklin, 33 cents. I mean, they're going to be playing. They're going to be playing a Dallas offense that could be leaky, who also plays well against in the secondary. So, but my point being, there's a lot of opportunities. Here is a game that we have to talk about before we go back to Jock Market in 5 minutes. Panthers started so strong. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I was buying a little bit of it. They beat the Jets. They beat the Saints. They beat the Texans. Then they dropped 4 in a row, which, again, can happen. But it was the Giant game that really stung me. So, Sean, lead us off. Sean, lead us off, man. I'm getting away from it because Hubbard, even with all the opportunities, we really haven't seen him being able to do it. The Giants' D is not very good. And now we're seeing the bottom fall out of Sam Darnold as we're watching the Falcons pick up on offense a little bit. I think they're starting to gel on the back of Kyle Pitts, though. Missing Ridley hurts. So now, even if I like the Falcons, I'm off this one. Sean, divisional matchup. Oh, man, what do you like, man? What do you like? I was digging Ryan because people are into the Panthers passing stats on the season. They're not very good as of late. They're just good on the season because of those early bad matchups. I think I'm leaning Falcons, Sean. You like anybody here? Anybody really stand out? I think Pitts has to now.
Yeah, I'm leaning Falcons. I would definitely take the money on that for sure. Sam Darnold's performance last week was completely putrid, and against a Giants team that was trying to lose that game. They're trying to give them chances to get back. So yeah, like I think that was just a horrible sign. For the fact that Matt Rule actually benched him in a game that was winnable. I think that just says it all. And now he's gonna have to try and like make face and make the best of it. So I think even like are we getting to the point with Matt Ryan? I don't think Matt Ryan has been particularly bad this season. I think the offense I think it's finding its identity more and more on a week-to-week basis. So I do think I think Ridley, I think if he's hurt for this week, I think just like long-term, if we're talking long-term redraft, I would still as we get closer towards your trade deadlines, I would still be trying to acquire Calvin Ridley. This process, I do think the offense has been efficient. I do think the presence of Kyle Pitts to open up more of the field for Calvin Ridley going forward. So I think for your redraft leagues, that's something to keep an eye on. As far as I think passing yards I think I would take the passing yards over for Matt Ryan, and I think just in terms of how the Sam Darnold stuff is heavily affecting me. DJ Moore, who's somebody who's been rock solid on a week-to-week basis, like even somebody as I have him in so many leagues, he has me a little shaky about how that's playing over. And also, I'm taking the under on Robbie Anderson, 48.5 on that prop bet. I've been betting against Robbie Anderson all year long. And it's been working out to me, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Raz, what are you, kiddo?
I'm pounding the Panthers money line.
All right. Ridley doesn't take off at all. He shouldn't. One player shouldn't necessarily change everything, but it did for me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a feeling on this one than anything. I don't really want to lead our listeners in that kind of route, betting with feelings. But I do think Ridley is out, correct?
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah. I mean, Matt Ryan's been playing all right, like you guys said. I just think this at some point the Panthers defense has to show up, right? I think they
started very strong.
That's what I'm saying. They started very strong. I mean, they're getting a bit healthier. I believe Stephon Gilmore's playing today.
Yeah, he's back.
So that helps as well. If he's returns to any type of form. So I like them as a money line team. There, and then in terms of just player props, maybe take a flyer on Chuba over 3.5 receptions at plus 135.
Usage. Whenever the usage is there, you got to open your mind to it. Yeah.
So I might look there, and I mean, I think I don't know how much confidence Matt Rule has currently right now in Sam Darnold. So some check downs and dump offs to the running back might be in the recipe there, just to kind of get him going again. That's the bet I'm looking at, and then that's about it. Honestly, like I don't trust anything. I think the Robbie Anderson under, like Sean said, it's been profitable. So if you want to be cynical there, we can do that.
Right. Hey, listen, man. Unders, there's money there too. People always fall in love with over. Right? I guess overs. I don't know if it's just exciting or if it's just kind of the standard we've accepted that you bet overs. But unders are legit. And yeah, I hate to put the motion on anybody, but you twist an ankle or something small, and then boop, there's your under, right? Because we've all been on the other end of that, where the injury hurts the over, but injuries help the unders, and they're out there. I don't bet them as much as I maybe I should. All right, guys, I want to hop into the jock market now. Raz, I was thinking that you had it open, so
I do, yeah.
Now, what I love about this so much, man, and again, they randomize the closing, so you can't just wait till the last second like eBay, right? People wait for the very last second and jam in that bid and go to whale it up, and just kind of scoop all the chips. Jock market closes at different times, so close 11:57, 11:58, 11:59. So like right now, it could be any second that it happens. So generally, this point, like I've laid, man, I have at least a G in this bad boy already. I generally don't chase players up into like the $6, $7, $8 range. So then I like to just look at the bottom of the board and see where like some cheap stuff is, man. J.D. McKissick, he's got a pop. He's on those even weeks when they fall behind. He gets the ball. He's $1 a share, $1 flat. Again, I could easily return $8. There's no reason it can't return $5. And it's something that the market kind of falls asleep on, these backup running backs, particularly ones that catch the ball. Man, who's at the bottom? Gainwell at 350, Carter at 250. I think these are all viable plays. Again, when you're searching on the bottom, people, don't be looking to really break the slate. I was just kind of giving some math examples. So, like, if you go with Gainwell, I don't think you're looking for him to be the top player on the slate, but he's the 60th by cost. I think he finishes in the top third and not the bottom half, because I think there'll be some work there for him. Now, I did not queue him up in DFS because of the Boston Scott usage, which I was a little bit afraid of. But, usage is hard to predict week to week, especially with that Eagles offense, like Raz was saying, the connection there between the boys with the headphones and the boys with the helmets. There seems to be some kind of disconnect there, right? Sean, you digging what I'm picking up there, right?
It happens. It happens so much, particularly with somebody like Jalen Hurts. And like I said, for the flashes that Jalen Hurts is giving you would expect them to have a really run-heavy offense. But they for what they're asking Jalen Hurts to do, it's not suited to what he does at all. So
right,
it gives you when you see the scheme and the talent not on the same page, that's really when you get into like red flag territory for fantasy value. And I think one thing, when you're looking for value, let's go for jock market, let's go for season long, and even for DFS. But you're always trying to avoid those situations where the bottom could fall out at any moment. And this is just what it's prepping up to be. As good as the numbers have been, I don't even know if he's safe for the whole year as a starter. It could really go at any point.
Minshew nipping at the heels right now. Make no mistake about it. They lose today, I think he's done. Right? Really? What do you guys think? If the Eagles lose to the Lions, and Hurts looks bad, do you think he's out? For now, at least.
I think just in terms of I like if looking for a scapegoat, and that's usually how these organizations goes. That's not my quarterback. They didn't draft Hurts, so like is Minshew any more of an upgrade? No, they're actually pretty similar about what they can and what they can't do. So it's not like I'm buying Gardner Minshew as the future, but to give themselves a little lead, that's just the way we've seen NFL teams work, particularly when you get to that second half of the season. If they're not sold on that QB1 as their guy going forward, they're gonna try and like cut the T and make sure that there's an opportunity for them to get their next guy and say, we didn't have the right quarterback on this roster. What do you want me to do with that? That's basically how NFL teams work at that point. So Hurts he's in that danger zone for sure on that.
I like the scapegoat term that you use, although Raz mentioned it before, and I like Jalen Hurts. I think the boy can ball. It's been pretty ugly. Like if you wanted to put some tape together for why he should not be starting in the NFL, we could probably come up with that tape because there are times that he is protected and either the decision-making is awful or the execution. I mean, they've missed on wide open balls that are it's bad. It's bad. Raz is not. And if you know, you know. Man, guys, we went past 12, which is fine. I get you out of here whenever. Jock Market is officially open or closed, I guess, depending how you want to look at it. Although, last point, with why Jock Market really rocks the house so much is, and this is something I've done to profit. This is probably up your alley, Raz, because I know you and I, we're really simpatico on these kind of things, is every week, check this out, pal, check this out. I buy shares of players in the 8 o'clock game because the scoring and the pricing is based off of projections. There's going to be a point in the day when the quality players in the 8 o'clock game, their projections spot them in a place where you could profit before they play. And I've done that maybe 2 or 3 times this season where I've bought shares of players and flipped them for a profit. Now, granted, it's not breaking the bank. I'm not retiring on this. But, again, if we're talking about percentages and we're talking about bank rolls, listen, putting a couple $100 in the pocket without taking a snap is always there. And that's what I was looking at with Tyler Conklin when I mentioned before. Conklin. Who was I looking at the 8 o'clock game? I got told. Oh, yeah, it was Conklin in the 8 o'clock game. If he's going off at the minimum, he's going to get priced, where his fair projections would be. And you could probably triple up on Tyler Conklin shares in Jock Market without him playing. So, again, where could you hit a plus 300 without taking a snap? Not really anywhere. So, markets leave openings for people. All right, boys, let's wrap up the last couple games. We don't want to leave people wanting. We're just going to do this main slate games. So we still got a handful left. We can go through fast. People heard me on the Wednesday show already. Patriots. Again, I mentioned it. They opened up. It was 6. That one's down to 4 now. I just made my point. My point is the Patriots are not as good as the 54-point team we saw last week. The Chargers are not as bad as the team that got rolled up by the Ravens. Raz, roll us out there, man. This one's easy. I think the Chargers beat up on the Patriots. I think Big Mike gets it done. I don't think the Patriots have an answer for the deep pass game of the Chargers. Eckler is going to play, but maybe be limited, so I'm off of him. So for me, it's Chargers with the points, Big Mike to go ham. What do you guys think?
I think I agree. As an Eckler shareholder, I need him to get crazy, but he's limited as it seems to be his way. He's one of the most frustrating fantasy picks the last couple of years. But he performs when he's out there. So we won't badmouth him too much. Mike Williams is a matchup nightmare for the Patriots, I think.
Yep. Agreed.
I like Damien Harris. He's been running hard though.
Yeah, you know what's funny? That's a really good point. The Chargers defense has been predicated on this kind of, so they like kind of playing back and allow things up front for enough time for the offense to hopefully pull ahead and then force you into their game style. And that's what I think is going to happen. So I do like Harris. I'm afraid it's a first half thing though.
I wanted to jump in on the actual of that what we just talked about because I don't see the Chargers. I would fire up those Damian Harris stocks everywhere you got them. To be honest, the Chargers are dead last in run defense DVOA. So that's they basically you've been able to run on them, and it doesn't even matter down and distance. To be honest, particularly against they have a pretty strong secondary, but I think the run defense has been lacking. So I think the Patriots, and they're going to be a team that's going to want to play a time of possession type of offense. So I'm going to see them running a lot. I definitely Damian Harris is one of my favorite picks this week.
Okay, he's got to get in the end zone, but it's okay, big deal. Like he's the focal point when they get close. The Patriots are, man, I know I'm a Jet fan. I catch heat for knocking them. I think they're going to continue to get better. I think Mac Jones has been the best rookie quarterback, and I think that's fair. But they're really very vanilla. It's all this play action close to the line of scrimmage, and there's really no explosive pass catchers. Again, even when they do it, like the
to your point,
Cowboys.
To your point, John.
Yeah, go.
How we were talking about these young quarterbacks as well. And Raz, like particularly, I remember we did a QB draft breakdown of Mac Jones, particularly when the rumors about him going 3 to San Francisco was at his peak. And for all of the jokes Mac Jones get, obviously, like he's tubby, he doesn't have the body of an elite athlete that you would expect. But Mac Jones, he's been a perfect scheme fit for what they want to do. And like just in terms of like, I think Hunter Henry, I love his value this week. I think he's definitely grown to be basically his most reliable target in that offense, it seems, as the weeks go on. But yeah, just in terms of what they're asking him to do, they're not asking him to do anything he's not comfortable to do. So I just think that, like, even love him or hate him, and you can say, did he have a lower upside? But the floor of somebody like Mac Jones is always super high. So just in terms of stability, I just think, I definitely see him growing into that role. And for some of the LOLs that Mac Jones got, I always think he was a more respectable, I just think about what he did in the title game. Like he carved up and put on an all-time performance in that game. So Mac Jones, I think he's more legit than not, and he's getting more comfortable. And some of these throws, some of the anticipation and test throws that he gets, it's a lot of stuff that you can't really teach. So I'm definitely with you on Mac Jones being somebody who as the season goes on, definitely finding his footing much more.
Yeah, I think they have to, and it doesn't have to happen this year. He's a rookie, but I think in order for this Patriots offense to take the next step to be able to compete in the playoffs, if you're behind, is they need to unlock that where he's not afraid to challenge down the field. Whether they need a weapon for him to go get those contested balls Raz was talking about earlier, that might be the answer. I would agree with you though, Sean. They're tailoring it to him, but in not to his opposite of his defense, from my defense against him is, there are times when he has a shot one-on-one with a step and he chooses to go underneath. And against a team like the Chargers that can put their foot on the gas and are, a big play type of people, because if you want to give them up close, sure, you're going to get Jared Cook, you're going to get Keenan Allen all day. And the second you take your eye off Big Mike, this dude is just racing towards the end zone. I think I really love this Chargers team. I think they're very good. And I like that defensive scheme, kind of challenging people. I think it matches up well with the Patriots. All right, let's do some sloppy games before we get out of here. Jacksonville Jaguars, 3.5-point dogs against Seattle. For me, this one's pretty simple. I think this is a home field thing. I was watching the Seattle team. Yuck. You couldn't get me to put $1 of my money on this team. I think Jacksonville Jaguars come out and get it done. The Seattle defense really has not been great, particularly against the pass. The line is struggling. They don't get to the quarterback. 5% adjusted sack rate, 27 completions for over 290 yards a game. I think Lawrence eats today, and I think it's a James Robinson game as well. Seattle defense against the rush, 32 attempts, 141 yards a game. Some of the other input stats are okay, but they're falling behind. I think you're going to get a ton of the two youngsters. Give me Robinson and Lawrence all day long. I think Jacksonville Jaguars win this one outright. I'm not touching a single thing. Seahawks, what do you like, Raz?
Seahawks.
I love the huff. I really do. I love that. That's a better. This is the first that bets on football.
Just thinking of Geno Smith. We've named our fantasy league after him, Geno Marino. He was a guy that we had great hopes for back in Jet Town.
My kids have the jersey. My kids are wearing his jersey.
Why would you do that? Why would you give him that? Why would you give your kids that jersey?
Because it's the cheapest one. It's the cheapest one on eBay. And birthdays rolled around, and Dad said, "Oh, they don't really know who's who." Maybe we'll bring in another Smith with the number 7. Who knows?
Fair enough, I guess. I don't like anything in this game. I'm not gonna lie to you. maybe as bad and as putrid as that defense is in Seattle, I could take a look at maybe a Chenault receptions, depending on what it is. I see it at 4.5 right now at -120.
Oh,
I'll probably leave that alone at that point.
Yeah. That feels
James-
I'm surprised. That one feels now. I guess 6 grabs, 2 of the last 3, but like I worry about the usage. I do.
Yeah, I mean James Robinson.
Wrong play,
Robinson,
right? Robinson. He's going to
rushing reception yards over 98.5.
Yep.
That's something I'll probably jump in there.
I like
I
that
think
one.
that's my entry point into this game, and I think that's where it stays.
Yeah, me too. I think Robinson's a strong DraftKings play as well. I mentioned ownership to open the show. Everyone and their mom is chasing Henderson for the Rams, and I get it. My pivot has been Robinson because I think the usage will be the same, and I just kind of have to hope Henderson doesn't drop a 40-burger, with a 50% ownership share or whatever. Sean, can you back anything in this one? I mean, can you see this? I just can't see the Seahawks winning anything. Even if you don't touch Jacksonville.
No, I think I see a couple Jaguar props that I would take. I would take Trevor Lawrence over 1.5 touchdowns plus 115 on that prop. I think that's a really good number right there. I also do think just in particular about how the Jags have played. They've been a second half team that's been bad, so they've actually come out. Particularly, I know that Bengals game. The game against the Dolphins. I mean, not the Dolphins. The Dolphins as well. So they've been and the Falcons. So I think on the first half they haven't been bad. So I think I also do see was that +3 first half spread for the Jags. I think they're going to keep it close. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be able to keep up with Geno Smith and that offense. So I think +3. I think that's a pretty good parlay number. If you want to get freaky and do a couple Jags props, I think that could probably be a moneymaker on that end. And I think another one I'd probably take is I would take Dan Arnold. Another one I do think
I like that.
under 36.5. I think since they've gotten him, they've made a concerted effort to get him the football. So I think that's another one. Trevor Lawrence, I think he's been taking steps forward. And I just think, especially if this game is close, like the Seahawks played a quick game last week, and I think if the Jags can keep it close, I think the Jags should be able to put up some numbers this week. So I do think
also.
Yeah, I do think like the Seahawks defensively, they've been a mess as well as the offense that can't really consistently move the ball. So yeah,
who are they covering up? Who are they covering? Who are the C? I'm sorry, I can't. Sometimes I see these betting boards, and I know people are all into CLV. The line's moving towards Seattle. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I really don't care. Seattle, I don't think is covering up anybody, man. Jacksonville, I think this is a bad team narrative getting dragged. You know what I'm saying? I think people are underestimating just how important Russell Wilson is. Dude is so important in between the lines, outside the lines. He's the tide that rises all ships, and I think we're seeing how. Gosh, man, I don't know. I even saw Jacksonville getting points at plus money, which I'm like, you're going to give me the points and the odds? Give me the points and the odds with the team I think is better. We got 2 more left. This one, I don't know. I was off. I'm really off with the public this week. And I guess that's okay, but sometimes I worry, again, I mentioned CLV. Buccaneers going to New Orleans. I think people are hung up on the way the games played out last year, I guess, right? The Saints beat the Bucs twice. I don't care about that. Bucs are, they are a really good football team. They do it all. I think people see like the Buccaneers pass stats on defense are weakened, but they funnel you into passing because the run defense is so strong. Newsflash, that works perfectly against what the Saints do. The Saints run between the tackles pretty well, but they can't stretch the field. So you're daring the Buccaneers in their defensive strength. And then, of course, Tom Brady doing old man things. Saints pass D has not been good. The line grade, very poor. They only have 13 sacks, 5% adjusted sack rate, 41 attempts, 25 completions, 275 yards a game allowed by the Saints on pass D. Those are all bottom 5 across the board. That Saints pass D has not been very good. So, Sean, for me, I think this one is – I'm not even sure what the public really sees. Saints brought in Mark Ingram, not something I'm, like, really into. I think this one's an easy cover for the Buccaneers. Again, this one I think might have started at 6 or 6.5 and has moved down to 5. So the public is digging Saints. I'm not, man. What do you think? I got this one. To me, this is one of the easier spread picks. Again, I'm an underdog better. I don't usually like to cover points, but to me, the Buccaneers cover up this 5 or 4, whatever we're getting, with ease. I don't want anything on the Saints, in fact, including Kamara. I'm going to be fading Kamara. He's going to get a spy the entire game. Buccaneers very strong up front. So, yeah, this one is – I'm smashing the Bucs and old man Tom. Raz is back. But, Sean, why don't you lead us in this one? We got 2 games to go, man. I don't think the Saints are in the same league as the Buccaneers. I really don't. So I've been waiting to smash this one because the line keeps moving in my favor. But I'm looking for a cover in Tampa Bay today.
Yeah, only thing I do have a little concerns about. I do think the Saints have a good secondary. So I do think just in terms of Antonio Brown out this week, are they going to be able to keep up with those the Bucs receivers and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin? Probably not. I think they'll keep it close for a couple quarters. But yeah, I'm definitely with you. I do think the Bucs will cover that number. I do think this has a chance. Just in terms of, I can see Jameis airing it out this week. I can see him actually making a concerted effort. Teams just don't like running on the Bucs. So I think what is it, that 48.5 number? I can see the total. If you want to bet a total for the game, I think this could be. I can see both teams. I can see the Bucs putting up 30 at least. So yeah, I think at that point you just need the Saints to really put up like 18 points. So I think 18, 19 points. So I think they get into at least the 20s at least. Okay. But yeah, as far as that goes, any other prop that I do see, nothing too interesting on this front. I would also say, I do think Leonard Fournette on the receiving yards, 25.5. I could see that going over possibly, but none of those that I love in this game, to be honest. I think definitely I would just take the spread and the Bucs money line. Yeah,
that's a good one, Raz. How about you, pal?
I like the Bucs on the spread. The one prop I'm looking at that I feel in my soul and in my spirit right now is that I'm booking it. It's my lock of the week. Nobody sue me when it don't hit. It is Chris Godwin over 74.5. It's hefty. It's a hefty number, but no AB. I think Tom Brady's going to need someone in that intermediate realm where he's going to throw it to.
Catch Lattimore too.
That's a lot for 8 to 10 targets.
When they have matched up, Lattimore has been sewed on to Mike Evans and he's really kept him from producing. I'm not the biggest cornerback matchup guy. Like, that's not normally my thing, but I think there are certain instances where you could get with that. I love that play. Let's see, Godwin over, 100 in week 1, 74 against the Rams, 70 against the Dolphins, 111 against the Bears. It's there. I like it.
Yeah, I think Godwin, he also is sneaky fast enough to where he gets a bit of yak as well. I don't think we give him enough credit there. I think Godwin versus number 2 corner, you got to take your chances.
Yeah, I like that. I really do like that pick. And again, people, if I'm just really into the inputs. Godwin, 20% team target share, 20% of the air yards. The ADOT is in the single digits, but it's still at 9. And generally, I draw the line at 10. So it's there. And again, whenever I'm like on the fence, you go to quarterback play. It's the best quarterback play in the league. You're looking at Brown being out, like you said. So I love that Godwin play. I got him keyed up everywhere. He's also a DFS play of mine. Last game, guys. Let's finish it out the same way we started. Extremely ugly. It's the Washington football team, 3-point dogs in Denver. 2 teams I have just really struggled to back. I really have struggled to back. Denver almost was sucking me in because the defense started playing pretty well, but then it kind of fell apart also. We've seen the defense in Denver, kind of fall apart a bit. And I think Von Miller is out again, which really is going to hurt them. Looking at that, they suppressed the Cleveland offense, but Vegas dropped 35, and then Pittsburgh, that's been kind of anemic, dropped 27. So, the Denver defense has been weakened. This one is pretty easy for me to get away from. People love McLaurin with good reason. People love Sutton with good reason. I have Sutton queued up in some DFS plays because that Washington pass defense has been really bad. It has not carried over year. The Washington D is like a target of mine with good reason. Giving up 40 attempts, 27 completions. The only team averaging 300 pass yards allowed per game is the Washington football team. So I think there's something there. Although I don't love Bridgewater, but I think I'll get into something maybe Judy enough. Guys, take it away. And then again, thanks for showing up. Appreciate you on this Sunday. And then we'll get everyone out of here with enough time to lay some bets and put some lineups in. Close us out, Sean. What do you got, kiddo?
Yeah, I think one thing that definitely stood out to me. I do think I don't really I wouldn't bet on this game just in terms of as somebody who have a bunch of Dak. I have a bunch of Dak stocks everywhere. And I don't know if he's gonna play. I'm kind of moving forward like he's not gonna play. It looks like it's gonna be a game time decision. But obviously with those late games, you don't really know. And particularly it's not even a week where you could even parlay the Monday Night Football games, because depending on the league you play, Mahomes, Daniel Jones, Monday Night Football game probably don't even have an option for a late game streamer. So if you're a little unsure about Dak, if you have other options, somebody that you can trust for the week, I would probably go with the other option. So that just makes it tough. Zeke over, I think it's 16 and a half receiving yards. I do like that bet. I think Zeke has been involved in the pass game, even on it's over 16 and a half. So I'll take a number. I think a couple other the best numbers in this game. I think the anytime score bets in this game have been pretty good. I'm taking Justin Jefferson plus 125 to score. I think that's a pretty good. I think he scores today. I also do think another one that's not too bad is you can get Dalton Schultz in the event that Dak does play, and even in the event that he doesn't play, I do think quarterback Rush making his first start of his NFL career. Obviously, I think I saw a stat about quarterbacks in their first NFL games and how the percentage that they targeted the tight end over expectation. I think another Dalton Schultz plus 190 to score at any time. I think that's another one of my favorite prop bets in this game.
I gotta say there's some serious sharp thinking with injuries on the table to kind of think ahead. I think if you smash any of those receiving props, tight end, the running back, definitely on board. Raz, hold on. He was not trying to even recognize Washington versus Denver on this. He wasn't even trying to recognize it as a football game. It's happening. I don't blame him for fading it, but I always try and get to the Sunday afternoon games with the guests. So I will take your look on the Sunday night game. But touch briefly on Washington versus Denver, and if you had a lean on these, I've been loving your garbage game take so far.
Oh man, Washington!
I love it.
I don't even think
your temples. You know what I mean?
I don't even think I look.
You gotta search deep for it.
Yeah, let me look into the notes real quick.
It's hard. It's really, and that's also fine. We're hitting the point of the season
Denver
where 4 teams have injuries and stuff. It's tough to back them. You like anybody here? I don't.
No. I hate it all. I don't. Maybe you go a Javonte Williams receptions 2.5, but not at minus 130. I probably wouldn't. I would stay away from that. If I was gun to my head, I had to pick the spread, I would probably go with the home team and pray. I don't feel good about anything here. I'm definitely staying away from this one, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I ended up adding Washington as my 4th money line dog of the week because it's part of the system. I've been sticking to 4 every week, and it was Washington or Detroit. And I just went with Washington because I think Denver is really flawed. And I mentioned quarterback play. I have been into Heineke and not so much into Bridgewater, but yeah, this one is very easy to fade. I was looking at Jerry Judy in DFS today. Again, he's back. He was not on the injury report, and I mentioned ownership. There was a report yesterday that I guess he didn't practice because they said after 3 days of practice in a row he was sore. And I was like, okay, so what? I mean, he's off, and now he's going to be fine. I don't like to overreact to these weird kind of nebulous Twitter tweets about injuries because what does that mean? He was sore after 3 days. Is that enough? If he's practicing in full and not an injury report for me, so that was the last note I had in this game was I'm queuing up Judy. I do think Washington might be able to operate on defense between the tackles. Antonio Gibson's off the report. Denver's had trouble with the run, allowing more than 4 running back yards per attempt, 4.5 adjusted line yards. And then, like I mentioned, we've seen the defense just kind of get beat up a little bit the last few weeks. Washington has shown a spark here and there, but again, I really can't sell you on anything too great. So that was the entire board, man. That was a ton of really cool info. Again, people, when you hang with me and the FTN crew, with DFS, it's betting, it's jock market, because I think you got to be exposed to all this stuff. I don't make money betting every week, but because I kind of balance all the weights across the different balance beam, I usually end up in the black. I've been having a very successful season. And again, it's usually because I work so damn hard at this, man. So, man, my guys, my two dudes, Sean, Raz, why don't you close this out? And again, if you have any final points, you know me, I do so much damn talking. I like to make sure my guests have a floor under the floor if you didn't get to something or anything like that. So all you guys, Sean, lead us up, and remember, promote your own stuff, because everyone, you want to be checking out these guys. The Draft Season Podcast is really cool. I have a lot of respect for people like myself that are trying to do multiple sports. It's not easy, particularly when they're both happening at the same time. I'm not really a basketball guy, but I just did the baseball-football overlap. It's really difficult. So, hats off, props to you guys. Thanks for showing up. Sean, talk to us, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I think always a pleasure chopping it up, John. We make magic whenever we do touch these mics.
Yeah, baby.
Always make sure you guys are checking out me and Raz, Draft Season Podcast, everywhere you do get your audio content. Check us out on YouTube as well. I think one thing, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, this is just my lock for the week, because I put in all of my parlays that I did.
Yes.
That I did center everything around. I wanted to go back to that Rams game. Matthew Stafford over 2.5 touchdowns. I think that's my base. I think he's pretty easily going to get to that over 2.5. So that's my lock. If you need one, you're searching on your tickets and you need one that you think can get you back some money. I think that's some of the best values. But yeah, otherwise you can definitely follow me on Twitter. I love Sean 5000, Sean 5K. Big John, you the man. Appreciate you for giving us this platform. Let us
No, of course. You guys do. Listen, you deserve it. I don't have to hand. I don't just hand them out. They don't come easy. And I got not only respect your work, but I kind of got to like you as a person too. Spending my day with you guys. I really appreciate you guys. I got a lot of love for you guys. Raz, same for you, man. Again, and don't be shy. You guys have the microphone. You have the floor. It's yours.
Yeah. So I gave y'all my lock of the week earlier. I'll just rehammer it home here. Chris Godwin, that over on his receptions. Get in on that while you can.
Yep.
I think he has a big game. But yeah, appreciate you having us on. Draft Season Podcast. Please, everyone, hit that subscribe on YouTube. Bump us where you listen to your audio. We're coming back with some content next week. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Polo Piffington. That's POLOPiffington. We're just trying to make it out here. So we appreciate you having us on him and talking that money. Definitely gonna check out Jock Market. I'm in it right now, getting some bidding on.
Yeah, get acclimated.
It's chaotic, so I'll keep you posted on how my week goes.
Listen, think about the work that you're doing, and you highlight a player, and then you go check the pricing. So that's what I love about it. You may say, okay, I like player A, B, and C. Let's check it out. And if they're too expensive, you don't have to pack them. You don't have to even play them. And then sometimes you go and you see guys like, man, you mentioned Javonte Williams going off so cheap, and you say, wow, there's a real chance to triple up, quadruple up on this. And you don't have to buy 100 shares. You could do it with a single share. And that's how I started. I literally started with my 20 plus their 20, had $40 and was like, okay, one share of this, one share of that, piece of this, piece of that. And, it just snowballs. And if you're really kind of thorough, which, again, one of the reasons I really dig your guys' work so much, you showed your work and you showed why you're thorough. Because following props and fantasy, betting boards, DFS, it's not easy. There's a lot of moving pieces. And to highlight where you can get the most money out of it, right? I mean, and that's really it. Every player has a prop, has a DFS price, has a jock market price. It's not universal. It's not, a win is a win is a win. You could lose your prop, but win in jock market because the pricing, same for DFS. So, I really appreciate you guys. That was really awesome. I got my DFS lineups up. It looks like I got like Allen, Hurts, and Lawrence. Running back, I got Henderson, Elijah Mitchell, a little bit of Herbert. Wide receivers, Deontay Johnson, A.J. Brown. I got Godwin, Devonta Smith, T. Higgins. Tight end, Hunter Henry, Kyle Pitts. And I pretty much am running out the Washington defense because I don't like to pay for defense. So Everybody remember, rate, review, subscribe at the FTN Network on YouTube. Make sure you download the Jock Market app. We don't just pop it. I'm in the market every single day, making money doing it. And to be honest, for me, Jock Market greater than signed DFS, and I tried to make a pretty good argument as to why. So make sure you download the app, and if you have any questions, man, you hit me up any time of day, any day of the week at MLB Moving AVG, or type in NFL Moving Averages into the Bluebird Twitter machine. From myself, my brothers from another mother, Uptown, baby. Uptown, baby. We're doing a little shake it. Enjoy the games. Enjoy your day. And when we're done with the book, enjoy that pay, people. From Big John, Raz, Sean 5K, we love every one of you. Enjoy the day. Be safe out there on Halloween. Don't eat too many Snickers, everybody. Peace.